You might have heard whispers, but nothing can truly prepare you for the horrors of Unit 731. Tucked away in Japan during the war, a man named Shiro Ishii carried out experiments on people that are just unbelievable. Men, women, even dwarves were put through the worst kind of torture. His doctors opened the little people while they were still alive, testing germ warfare on them and freezing them to see what would happen. The victims, they didn't even see them as people. They called them logs. This wasn't science, this was pure evil.
Why did Vincent the Chin Gigante walk the streets in a bathrobe? The answer might shock you. Vincent Gigante, the infamous leader of the Genovese crime family, known for his bizarre act of feigning insanity. He roamed New York in a bathrobe, mumbling to himself, but behind the facade, a ruthless mastermind. From the 1960s to the 90s, he controlled the Mafia with an iron fist. Discover more chilling stories of notorious figures in history.
Are you curious about the tough guys behind the mob? The real muscle? Let me introduce you to Dominic Sciallo, Brooklyn's very own enforcer. Sciallo, also known as Mimi or the King of Coney Island, was once a name that sent shivers down spines in Brooklyn's underworld. He worked in the shadows and wasn't afraid to break bones. His story is a mix of loyalty, power, and some really rough karma. In 1974, Dominic Sciallo's body was discovered in the basement of Otto's social and athletic club in Brooklyn. Sciallo, who managed the Colombo family's Coney Island operations, had been missing for 10 months. Sciallo was the backbone of how the mob worked. What I wish I knew about P.T. Barnum before I visited his museum. The man behind the curtain was more than just a showman, P.T. Barnum, a name synonymous with entertainment and deception. But did you know his freak shows were filled with lies and exploitation? He wasn't just a promoter of curiosities, he was a master of manipulation. From the Fiji mermaid to General Tom Thumb, nothing was off limits. His tactics were as controversial as they were profitable. But behind the curtain, the truth was often darker. The unbelievable rise and fall of John DeLorean. Buckle up! From designing iconic cars at General Motors to creating his own futuristic DeLorean DMC-12, John DeLorean was a true automotive legend. But behind the glitz and glamour was a tale of ambition and downfall. In 1982, DeLorean was arrested in a dramatic FBI sting, accused of trafficking cocaine to save his failing company. Though he was acquitted, his reputation was shattered. John DeLorean's story is a cautionary tale of dreams turned into nightmares. What I wish I knew at the time, the shocking truth about Yolanda Saldivar. Let's unravel this mystery together. Yolanda Saldivar, once a trusted confidant and president of Selena Quintanilla's fan club, turned from loyal friend to cold-blooded murderer. How did a woman so close become the greatest threat? Saldivar's obsession with Selena grew dangerous, leading her to embezzle money and ultimately commit the unthinkable in 1995. The motive? A twisted mix of jealousy, greed and control. Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history. This is going to blow your mind. The man behind Hiroshima's devastation, Paul Tibbets. Paul Tibbets, a name etched in history. The pilot of the Enola Gay, the B-29 bomber that unleashed Little Boy over Hiroshima. In mere seconds, 80,000 lives were lost. Tibbets' mission was to end a war, but it sparked an ethical debate that rages on. Was he a hero or a harbinger of doom? If your idea of a criminal mastermind is a shadowy figure, you're thinking of Matteo Messina Denaro, the legit last godfather, known for his ruthlessness and cunning. He rose to power in the Sicilian Mafia in the 1990s. Responsible for bombings that killed anti-mafia prosecutors and countless other crimes, Denaro has evaded capture for decades. Despite being a fugitive, he still commands respect and fear. A true ghost in the world of organized crime. Want more stories of notorious figures? Subscribe now and uncover the shadows of history.
You need to hear this if you're a history buff, because Oliver North's story is one wild ride. Oliver North was once a decorated Marine, but his name is forever tied to one of the biggest political scandals in U.S. history, the Iran-Contra affair. In the mid-1980s, North secretly sold arms to Iran, a sworn enemy, to fund Nicaraguan rebels. When the plot unraveled, North became a household name, both reviled and revered. Was he a patriot or a rogue agent undermining democracy? His congressional testimony, where he admitted to shredding documents, was as dramatic as any spy thriller.
I don't think people understand just how deep the rabbit hole goes when it comes to Heidi Fleiss. Let's take a closer look. Born into a privileged family, Heidi Fleiss seemed destined for a conventional life, but by the early 90s, she was running an elite prostitution ring catering to Hollywood's A-listers. Her client list was a who's who of the rich and famous, and her downfall was as dramatic as her rise. Arrested in 1993, Fleiss faced multiple charges, but the true crime lay in the secrets she held. She claimed to protect her clients' identities, but whispers of her black book still haunt Tinseltown.
Why are there not more people talking about Charles Ponzi, the man who turned scams into an art form? Charles Ponzi was the mastermind behind one of the most infamous financial scams in history, the Ponzi scheme. In the 1920s, he convinced thousands to invest, promising them massive returns in just 90 days. But the payouts came from new investors, not profits. When the house of cards collapsed, Ponzi swindled $20 million and ruined countless lives.
I bet you didn't know how terrifying Saddam Hussein's sons were. Let me take you on a chilling journey through their reign of terror. Known for their ruthless and violent behavior, Uday and Qusay ruled with an iron fist and a sadistic streak. Uday, the elder, controlled the media and sports, infamous for his erratic and violent outbursts. Meanwhile, Qusay managed the security forces, orchestrating mass executions and brutal crackdowns. Together they instilled fear across Iraq, their names synonymous with terror. But in 2003, their reign came to a bloody end when US forces tracked them down in Mosul. Their deaths marked the fall of a tyrannical legacy. Want to dive deeper into the darkest corners of history? Let's unravel the dark legacy of Joseph Tester. Joseph Tester wasn't your typical mobster. He was methodical, cold and silent, earning him the nickname the Quiet Assassin. Alongside his partner, Anthony Center, they formed the feared Gemini twins. Operating under the notorious DeMio crew, Tester's precision and stealth made him a lethal enforcer in the 1980s Mafia scene. Tester's calm demeanor masked a chilling brutality. He didn't just follow orders, he perfected them. This made him both respected and feared among his peers. But what drove him to such darkness? That's the mystery that true crime fans can't resist. Intrigued? If your job application ends like Charles Guiteau's, you're definitely in a true crime story. Charles Guiteau, a man with delusions of grandeur, thought he deserved a government position. When he didn't get it, he took matters into his own hands. On July 2nd, 1881, he shot President James Garfield at a train station in Washington, D.C. Garfield lingered for weeks before succumbing to his injuries. Guiteau's trial was one of the first to use the insanity defense, but it didn't save him. He was hanged in 1882. A shocking tale of ambition, madness, and murder. Hello, true crime fans. Today I'm diving into one of the most bizarre tales in outlaw history. Ever heard of Big Nose George? Well, let me introduce you to the outlaw who ended up as a pair of shoes. Big Nose George Parrott was a notorious bandit in the late 1800s, primarily known for robbing trains and stagecoaches across Wyoming and Montana. His criminal exploits were daring, but his downfall was even more extraordinary. In 1878, George and his gang attempted to derail a train, but their plan was foiled by vigilant lawmen. After a daring chase, George was captured in 1880. His trial was swift, and he was sentenced to hang. However, George had other plans. He tried to escape, but was caught and lynched by a mob of angry townspeople. Now, here's where the story takes a strange turn. Dr. John Osborne, a local physician, took possession of George's body for medical research. In a twist of macabre ingenuity, Osborne had George's skin tanned and made into a pair of shoes. Yes, you heard that right, shoes. These shoes, along with a medical bag made from George's skin, are still on display at the Carbon County Museum in Rawlins, Wyoming. a grim reminder of a criminal turned footwear. If you found this story as Meet the boss of bosses of most Russian mafia syndicates in the world, Semyon Mogilevich. This guy is seriously dangerous. He's the mastermind behind a huge criminal organization. Think arms dealing, drug smuggling, even nuclear materials. It's scary stuff. Described by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as the most powerful and dangerous gangster in the world. His network stretches all the way from Russia to the United States. Everywhere he goes, bad things happen. And get this, he's been arrested multiple times, countless investigations, but he always gets away. How does he do it?
What if a single senator could change history? Meet Joseph McCarthy. In the 1950s, McCarthy claimed communists had infiltrated the US government. His accusations led to a nationwide witch hunt, ruining countless lives. But power built on fear is fragile. Discover the downfall of Joseph McCarthy.
Ever heard of Chesty Puller? If not, you're in for a wild ride. Louis Chesty Puller was a man of legend and grit, a true embodiment of Marine Corps tenacity. Serving through World War II and the Korean War, Puller earned 5 Navy Crosses and a Distinguished Service Cross. His fearless leadership and unwavering resolve inspired his troops, turning impossible missions into victories. From the jungles of Guadalcanal to the frozen hills of Korea, Chesty Puller became a name etched in military history. I think I messed up. I'm sure you've heard the news. But do you know the dark legacy behind Ayatollah Khomeini? The Ayatollah is the face of the Iranian Revolution of 1979, revered by some, feared by many. His rise to power marked the end of an era and the beginning of another, one steeped in controversy. From brutal crackdowns on dissent to the infamous hostage crisis, Khomeini's reign was anything but peaceful.
Are you fascinated by tales of betrayal and underworld secrets? Then you need to hear about Joseph the Animal Barbosa. Joseph Barbosa, known as the Animal, was one of the most feared enforcers for the Patriarca crime family in the 1960s. With a reputation for brutality, he claimed to have killed over 26 people. But his story takes a wild turn when he did the unthinkable. Barbosa became one of the first mobsters to break the code of silence, or omerta, flipping to become an informant for the FBI. In what many saw as an act of desperation, Barbosa testified against his former associates, putting several high-ranking mobsters behind bars. This move made him a marked man, and he spent the rest of his life on the run, constantly looking over his shoulder. Why did the Animal turn against his own? Was it fear, or was it a calculated move to save himself? The answers remain buried in the shadows of the criminal underworld.
If you love old Hollywood but crave dark secrets, then this story is for you. Joan Crawford, legend or villain? Beneath the dazzling lights of Tinseltown, Joan Crawford harbored dark, sinister secrets. This glamorous star, known for her striking roles, had a hidden side, marked by alleged abuse, controversy, and scandal. From her infamous feuds to the chilling memoir written by her daughter, Crawford's legacy is tarnished with whispers of cruelty and manipulation. Was she a product of ruthless ambition or something far more sinister? None. But imagine this. A criminal mastermind who could outsmart the law at every turn. Born in 1902, Harry Pierpont was the brains behind John Dillinger's notorious gang. From bank heists to jailbreaks, Pierpont orchestrated some of the most daring crimes of the early 20th century. He was charismatic, cunning, and ruthless, leaving law enforcement baffled. But his life of crime finally caught up with him. In 1934, after a blazing gun battle, Pierpont was captured and later executed. His legacy? A chilling reminder of the thin line between genius and madness.
Are you curious about America's most notorious criminals? Let's uncover the story of Pretty Boy Floyd. Charles Pretty Boy Floyd was a notorious bank robber who struck fear into the hearts of many in the 1930s. Known for his daring heists and elusive nature, Floyd became a legend of the Prohibition era. But was he a hero to the poor, or just another criminal? Subscribe now and dive deeper into the lives of history's most notorious figures. Don't miss out. I'm sure you've heard the name Aleister Crowley, but do you know the chilling truth behind it? Born in 1875, Crowley was more than just an occultist. He was a poet, a mountaineer, and a master of dark rituals. Known as the Beast, He pushed every boundary, indulging in practices that shocked society. His infamous book, The Book of the Law, claimed to reveal hidden truths from ancient gods. But was he a visionary or a madman? Unravel the enigma of Aleister Crowley and decide for yourself. Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history.
You need to hear this if you're a history buff who loves the strange and unusual. Robert Ripley, the mastermind behind Ripley's Believe It or Not, was more than just a cartoonist. He was an explorer, a collector of oddities, and a connoisseur of the bizarre. Born in 1890, Ripley traveled the world, uncovering freakish facts and peculiar people. His findings, so strange, they left people questioning reality itself. From shrunken heads to a man who could pop his eyes out on command, Ripley showcased the world's weirdest wonders. But did you know? Some say he blurred the line between fact and fiction. None of us are ready for the truth about Billy the Kid. But let's dive in. Born Henry McCarty in 1859, Billy the Kid was an outlaw who became a legend. But did you know he was also a folk hero? With a quick draw and a quicker mind, he escaped from jail not once, but twice. His life of crime, it began with a simple theft, but it quickly spiraled. At just 21, he was gunned down by Sheriff Pat Garrett. But tales of his daring deeds live on. Want to uncover more about notorious figures in history? Hit subscribe and join us on
Welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. Now let me tell you something, kid. Not every legend packed a six-shooter. Some carried a scalpel and a pistol. In 1865, there was this tough-as-pig leather lady named Dr. Mary Walker. The first, and still the only woman ever to receive the Medal of Honor. Isn't that something? She was out there during the Civil War, patching up soldiers right in the thick of a raging battle, wearing men's pants a scandal during the era. Yeah, pants. In the 1860s were the scandal of the century. Confederates caught her once, tried to shut her down, but she just kept fixing folks anyway. She was a little stubborn and a little butch. Years later, the government tried taking her medal back. She told them, "You didn't give it to me for behaving." Now that, my friend, is what you call guts.
If you're a history buff, then you need to hear this. Nathan Bedford Forrest, ever heard of him? This Confederate general wasn't just a military mastermind. He was also a founding member of the Ku Klux Klan. From slave trader to Klan leader, Forrest's life was a dark stain on American history. His brutal tactics in the Civil War earned him the nickname Wizard of the Saddle.
Saddle up, we're diving into the gritty life of Curly Bill Brocious. Born William Brocious, this infamous gunslinger terrorized Arizona in the late 1800s. Known for his ruthless charm and deadly aim, Curly Bill led the notorious Cowboys gang. He crossed paths with legends like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. In 1880, Curly Bill allegedly killed Tombstone's Marshal Fred White. Though acquitted, his reign of terror continued. The apex of his outlaw career came during the Earp Vendetta Ride. On March 24, 1882, Wyatt Earp claimed to have gunned down Curly Bill in a dramatic shootout at Iron Springs. But some say he escaped, his fate shrouded in mystery. Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history.
If your Hollywood idol has a secret darker than her fame, you're watching the Lana Turner story. Buckle up, Lana Turner, the dazzling starlet of the golden age of Hollywood. But beneath the glamour, there lay a web of secrets and scandals. In 1958, her lover, Johnny Stompanato, was found dead in her Beverly Hills home. The culprit, Turner's own teenage daughter, Cheryl. Was it self-defense or something more sinister? The trial captivated the nation, leaving more questions than answers. Lana Turner's life was a blend of glitter and shadows, where fame met infamy at the crossroads.
How far would you go to keep your secrets buried? Let's uncover Howard Hughes's darkest truths. Behind the glamorous facade, Hughes's life was a labyrinth of mystery, obsession with control, endless paranoia. Did his fortune come at a cost we can't imagine? Who was he really? And what did he fear most? Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history. You won't believe who we're diving into next. Welcome to the world of mobster Sonny Franzese, known as the most stand-up guy in mob history. Franzese famously said, "Jesus suffered, and he didn't squeal on nobody." His criminal career spanned nearly a century. Born in 1917, Frances was the underboss of the Colombo crime family, one of the most feared crime syndicates in New York. His rap sheet? As long as Broadway? He was a master of disguise, evading law enforcement for decades. In the 1960s, he was famously involved in extortion, loan sharking, and even had his hands in the music industry. Rumors say he had a piece of the action in the iconic film The Godfather. Despite multiple convictions, he always found a way back to the streets. He once did an interview with a reporter who asked him if he knew Frank Sinatra. He replied, "You asked the question the wrong way. You should have asked, did Frank Sinatra know Sonny Frances?" Imagine this: in 2017, at the age of 100, he was released from prison, making him one of the oldest inmates in the US. But what makes Sonny truly notorious? Was it his ability to command respect and fear? Or was it his uncanny knack for survival in a world where trust is a luxury? You be the judge. If you're fascinated by stories of notorious figures like Sonny, hit that subscribe button and join us for more deep dives into the dark history of crime. Stay tuned, stay curious. Until next time, keep your friends close, but your enemies
It's a hot
close.
summer day in 1943. Benito Mussolini, the iron-fisted dictator of Italy, is teetering on the edge of disaster. Benito Mussolini, the man who once dreamed of restoring the Roman Empire, found himself cornered as World War II raged on. His alliance with Nazi Germany was crumbling, and his own people were turning against him. On July 25, 1943, the Grand Council of Fascism voted to oust Mussolini from power. Arrested and imprisoned, his fate seemed sealed, but the story didn't end there. In a daring raid, German commandos rescued Mussolini and installed him as the puppet leader of a Nazi-controlled state in northern Italy. Yet as the Allies advanced, Mussolini's days were numbered. On April 27, 1945, he was captured by Italian partisans while trying to flee to Switzerland. The next day, Mussolini and his mistress were executed, their bodies displayed in Milan as a grim symbol of the dictator's fall. Mussolini's end was swift and brutal, a stark reminder that even the most powerful can be brought down.
You
Want
need to
learn
watch
more?
this if you're fascinated by notorious figures who led their followers into darkness. This is the eerie tale of Jim Jones and the Jonestown Massacre. Jim Jones started as a charismatic preacher with a vision for a utopian society. His People's Temple began with ideals of equality and racial integration. But what started as a dream turned into a nightmare. By the late 1970s, Jones had relocated his followers to the remote jungles of Guyana. There, under a veil of secrecy, he orchestrated one of the most horrifying mass suicides in history. Over 900 men, women and children perished in what would be known as the Jonestown Massacre. How did this happen? How did one man hold such power? And what drove them to their tragic end?
Welcome
Subscribe
back
for
to
more.
Notorious Figures in History. Now I'm going to tell you a story. Sometimes the Mafia tough guy is not Italiano. Tokyo Joe was an Asian gangster for the Chicago outfit. He was a small-time gambler who worked his way into the Chicago outfit back in the 50s with the bosses. He ran the numbers and whole operation. Clean, smart, and he always pay on time. The bosses like him because he make money. But this can become very dangerous. February 10th, 1983, Tokyo Joe, he meet two friends. They sit him down in the car and bang, bang, bang. 3 shots to the head. But guess what? He don't die. He walk into the hotel, bleeding like a faucet, and he say, "Call me an ambulance." Doctors pull out the bullets, and he smile. Next thing, he become the informant. And he puts away the bosses and lives he live in the witness protection till 2004. From the Chicago streets, he was a tough guy and smarter than the bullets they send for him. Welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. Now I am going to tell you a story. In the town of Corleone, blood was the business. Leoluca Bagarella, brother-in-law to Salvatore Riina, turned loyalty into terror. When Riina he fall, Bagarella took the boss. Then he do the bombings, the kidnappings, and the war on the government. He give the orders and stay quiet. No one see him, but know he have the power. When they catch him, the polizia said he looked relaxed. Of course he is. He closed with death his whole life. He was an evil guy. Ever heard of Vito Giacalone? They call him the ghost of Detroit, always in the hiding. While his evil brother, Tony Jack, was shaking hands in daylight, Vito moved with power in the shadows. He ran the bookmaking and other dirty things. When Jimmy Hoffa was disappeared in 75, everybody say Giacalone brothers do it. But nobody gonna talk. Vito know like too much violence unless necessary. FBI, they call him the calmest criminal. Yes, he was very calm, but also very deadly. While others fight for a fame, Vito built an empire and he outlived everybody. Welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. I am going to tell you a story. This one's about a real Brooklyn ghost, Salvatore Itoto, Aurello. He was an old-school killer, low-profile power mover. He grew up under Albert Anastasia and Carlo Gambino. Toto handled the kind of business you don't talk about. Clean and quiet. He kept the street money going 24 hours a day. When the boss argued, he listened. Then he decided who to do the dirty things to. He ran the docks and many other things for the family. No headlines, no stories, no mistakes. Brooklyn fear him, but they respect him even more. The kind of old school guy you only hear about after he's gone. Welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. Now let me tell you something, kid. Here's a story about little skinny Joey Merlino. In August 1993, Philly's family is having a war. Joey's leaving the funeral of Mikey Cingalini. Mikey, he was a good boy. Wrong place, wrong war, difficult times. They whack a Mikey cause Joey's crew whack a Joey Cingalini. No relations. You understand what I'm telling you? Anyway, as Joey's walking out, bang bang, Mike is gone. Joey, he also gets a shot. This why they start to calling him a skinny Joey. Now, welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. Now here is the story of Andy Mush. Andy wasn't the kind of boss who needed a scream. He was a heavyweight mafioso. He come from Brooklyn to the top of the Colombo family, and he was a sneaky guy. He grew up under Carmine the Snake, and he learned early that the smartest man in the room isn't the loudest one. He handled the family problems. He rebuilt the family. Even the polizia call him the real Cosa Nostra. It's Brooklyn. They listen to him. He was the real mafioso. Now, welcome back to Notorious Figures in History. Now I'm going to tell you a story. Gura Shapiro. He was the strong guy who kept the Murder Inc. in business. Gura and his friend Louis Lepke, they run the crimes and do the dirty things together. Unions, affair codes, and many crime things they like to do. Very greasy, my kind of a guys. Gurra, he never talk, he don't have a big mouth like other mafioso. Lepke say, go get it, Gurra. This means a go ahead. That's where the name stay, Gurra. He do things the old-fashioned way. Quiet, no talk, no second chances. When the police come for murdering, Gurra stay quiet. He no talk. He faced the chair like Soldato. He was the backbone. All the families very much like him. We don't forget him. Subscribe for more videos on Notorious Figures in History.